Oh, have we been muted? Okay. Let's start over. Welcome to Sunday Coaching with Chef Coach Kwasa. And in today's Sunday coaching session, we're going to be getting engaged, right? It's easy to find lots of channels on YouTube with level up and coaching. And to each coach, their own niche, their own specialty, their own way. On this channel, and our goal is to incorporate whole, fresh living and unprocessed foods and fitness as a lifestyle, not merely for aesthetic purposes. Now, we are a vain species, and vanity does have its place. Though, if you start first with looks, that's one of the reasons why it usually doesn't last. So, I invite you to get your journals out and to really be interactive. And we're going to talk about interaction in my practice. Of being a coach, a personal trainer, someone that is certified in kettlebell and pre-postnatal and yoga, who's been on this path for 35 years plus. There are a lot of nuances when it comes to maintaining and achieving a healthy natural weight loss, aka fat loss, unhealthy adipose tissue or fat loss, maintaining a sustainable healthy diet or a healthy nutrition strategy, as well as having lifestyle practices that are therapeutic. Lifestyle practices that are therapeutic. So, to be quite honest, you can really rely on yourself for therapy. And most of us, especially in the times that we're living in today, what I call a state of triggeration, could really benefit from therapeutic practices that we have access to every day and throughout the day, right? Because when we think about how much we're up against, in the sense, how much overstimulation is coming at your nervous system, then it would make sense. It would be highly beneficial. It would behoove us to have lifestyle practices that we engage in every single day because, to be quite honest, that's how much we need it. Desperately look around. So, again, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm Chef Coach Kwasa, professionally trained chef, personal trainer. Worked at one of the top gyms in New York City for over 10 years, but been in fitness, oh my gosh, and healthy eating for 35 years plus. And I have to say, it has been a long journey. Hopefully, if you come along on this journey, you can get some education that can shorten your learning curve. So it doesn't have to take you 35 years to get on a path of healthy eating and fitness as a lifestyle. In contrast to stopping and starting every January, every birthday, every time there's a sale on Nikes. The goal is to make consistent deposits daily into the 401k. I'll call it the 401k of your vitality, right? Because these, if you're not making withdrawals or you're not making deposits now, you won't be able to make the withdrawals when you really need them, when you hit menopause, when you decide to have a baby, when you get an injury, or when your immune system is down. You won't be able to take a withdrawal if you haven't made any deposits. That's a fact. That's a fact. So your number one investment is your health and your vitality. As I tell a lot of folks that I work with, you don't have to focus or worry so much about the aesthetic or what you look like, right? Your form. Your form is actually going to follow your function. What does that mean? Your form is going to follow your function. That means if you're functioning, if you're engaged, if you are active throughout the day, then you will look like what you do. If you sit all day, which doesn't make you a bad person, if you sit around like a lump on a log, or if your work requires that you sit down for 8 to 10 hours a day, that is very unbeneficial, that is actually very harmful to the body. So we have whole body parts and parts of our system that have shut down and have atrophied. Muscles and also movement systems in the body that are not firing chemically and that are not firing mechanically because we're not using it. And that's a habit. And habits are huge. So there's a lot of this information, especially in this age of information that we're in now, that is quote unquote common knowledge, but it's common superficial knowledge. Because if you have a lot of information, but it's not being applied on a regular basis, if you don't understand the whys of it, then you likely don't have the results to match what you supposedly know, this is not an insult. This is all of us, right? So if our results are not adding up to what we know, I invite you to get that journal and ask why, right? So this season, we don't like to wait for the New Year's ever around here. We like to use these tools as a lifestyle. Waiting for New Year's Eve is kind of like it's a scam. I can tell you. I've been working in gyms for decades, and the gyms and corporate knows that people are going to be inspired to do something new by ritual on the 1st of January. So they have more sales. But the majority of people do not use their gym memberships. I can tell you somebody that's also competed in fitness. Most clients that come in and change their bodies, majority of them gain the weight back. So aren't you curious as to why the results are not sustainable? Is it the workout? Is it the eating? Is it addiction? Is it self-soothing due to trauma? Is it being overworked and overtired? What's missing? Why can't humans seem to maintain healthy, vibrant habits? Why are we giving in to so many vices? Now, I invite you to reflect on this. You hopefully have your journal and your pen, right? And some tea or some water or some nice juice next to your natural juice, right? I invite you to get your journal and to really use it to be self-reflective, right? Engaging on the internet actually encourages us in the opposite direction. While you can intake useful information, there and people say Facebook family, YouTube family, it's not real interactive. Right now I have an avatar up so you don't see my face. You see a picture and you see like, maybe it's a little line that's buzzing or that's, blinking in and out as you hear my voice, but it's not a whole interaction. Right now you can listen from my tone, but you can't see if I'm naked, if I'm digging in my butt, if I'm covered in mud from the garden. You can't see my facial expressions, right? If I turn on the camera and I've got 20 lights and 20 tons of makeup, I'm at a distance and I have a certain amount of pixels on my camera. Can you really tell if I'm healthy? Right? If I have healthy habits, can you tell as a chef, right? And if I'm making certain dishes, and you see me eating, if you can run the numbers, 3,000 calories worth of pasta and desserts. You can't tell if on the commercial breaks I'm chewing that stuff and spitting it in the garbage can and just dabbing my lips with some paper towels. You can't see, there's so much you can't see on the internet. So in our Sunday coaching sessions, we're going to the root. We're going to the root of a lot of our self-sabotaging behavior. Now, at our foundation for actual transformation, not just in your mind, actual transformation is going to require something of you. It is what it is. Anybody telling you otherwise is dishonest. And sometimes we want people to tell us fantasies and this is the age of fantasy. This is the age of fantasy. We want people to tell us fantasy because it's nice, it feels good, and because we don't have to get sweaty, we don't have to do any work. Sorry, but it's just based on observation. You can let me know what you think in the comments. We don't want to get uncomfortable. We'll click off to anything that requires us to do work because there's like a distaste to being uncomfortable. Yet the self-reflection and the feedback, which is emotionally uncomfortable, can really be a big part of what's missing when it comes to personal transformation. So I invite you to use your journal to answer some of the journal prompts and the self-reflection and to share them in the chat and also to share them in our private Discord. So today, our first reflection is we are chemical beings. We are chemical beings, right? Sit with that for a moment and see what comes up for you. What do you think when you think we are chemical beings, right? What kinds of processes are taking place in our physical shells, right? Our body temples. What kind of chemical reactions are happening all day, every day? Are there chemical reactions when we blink our eyes, when we chew food and digest it in our mouths with the saliva, when it travels down the throat? As the brain processes thoughts, what kinds of chemical reactions are happening? Right now, as I get ready to go out into the garden, I don't have any sleeves on my arms. What kinds of chemical reactions are taking place as the sun hits my skin? If you can name any of the chemicals or chemical reactions, or the vitamins or the minerals or elements